friends, my name is Jennifer. This is going to be my first official separate quilting video. I just finished filming my floss tube. Today is March 18th, so I look exactly like I did in that one if you're watching them both on the same day or something. But that one is uploading, so I wanted to do a separate one. Mainly because some people had asked me some questions about English paper piecing. They had sent me messages on Instagram, and I wanted to do a short tutorial at the end. So if you don't want to see my haul or my whips for quilting, then you can just kind of skip to the end. Anyway, so I have mainly been working on 2 quilts this last week. It is spring break, so I've actually had some time to sew, and so that's great. One of them is a Dear Jane quilt. It is a quilt. I don't have the picture of the book that my mom and I we're each making one. We've been working on it for years, but I've decided we're buckling down and we are going to finish it because this is my 50th year. I wanted to finish it before I turn 51. Anyway, well, technically it's my 51st year, but I'm trying to finish it before my 51st birthday. So the book is at her house because we usually stitch on it at her house. So to speed things up, I've been going to her house and we pick out fabrics and talk about techniques sometimes. Divvy up who's going to make the templates for any applique we have to do. Sorry, there's something in my eye. Where was I saying? Oh, so anyway, the book's at her house, but I've been stitching down here because I really only have time. There's something in my eye. I don't have a whole lot of time to go down there because of my job. So anyway, I'm just going to show you the blocks. Now, I think there's, and it says in the book, I want to say there's like 5,700 some odd pieces. It was originally stitched by Jane Sickle, I think her last name was. One day I would love to go with Mom to the museum where it is stored, and they bring it out for like, I think a month every year, and it's in October maybe. I'm not really sure. Mom knows. I would like to make that trip with Mom once we're finished with our quilts and maybe take a picture outside the museum with our quilts, and then to be able to go in and see the original quilt would be absolutely amazing. It's a lot of little pieces. It was stitched during, hold on, the Civil War. It says like she actually embroidered in on one of the cornered triangles that it was stitched in wartime. So I always like to, imagine why she came up with all these weird blocks, and I don't know if it was just something to keep her busy, keep her mind off what's going on, which is great right now. I mean, it's perfect for right now. Anyway, so it is comprised of 13 rows with 13 blocks in each row. JKL, yeah, 13 rows, 13 in each row, so 169 blocks. They will have to be sashed, but I just want them all finished this year as far as pieced. And then there are also 13 triangles, pieced triangles in the top, the bottom, and the 2 sides. So 52 triangles, pieced triangles. And then there are 52 solid triangles that just have to be cut. And that comprises the border, the outside border. And then it has 2 kind of, I guess, I don't know, they're kind of triangle shaped, but then they're curved like a semicircle on the end. Anyway, we haven't done those yet. Okay, so just give you, if you want to look it up, just look at Dear Jane quilt and tons will pop up. So here are the blocks that I have finished recently, and they do, when they're sewn in, they should be 4.5 inches finished, and they're 5 inches right now unfinished. So you'll take another 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So I have this one, and please don't look too closely at my points and where they meet up, because like I said, it's a lot of little pieces, and Now, I try to make everything line up, but it's not always perfect. So there's that one. This is one of my favorites just because I do love blue, and this is such a pretty blue color. So these are part of the 169 blocks that are on the inside. We are now on, and my mother is further along than I, but I've been trying to catch up to her, and so I think I'm just like 5 blocks behind her now. I think I have 12 more in row L, which is the 12th row. And so then we'll just be on the last row, and we are on the final side. We've done 3 sides of triangles. And so then now we have 13 more triangles. And then once I finish this row, we'll have 13 more blocks. So we're getting very close. It's very exciting. So we tried to pick out fabrics that somewhat corresponded to hers, and most of the fabrics with which I sew, my favorite fabrics are the 1800s reproduction fabrics. It's funny, if you actually look at some of the original fabrics, like there's a lady that my mom orders a lot of her fabrics. She actually has fabric books from like the 17 and 1800s. I think that's amazing. And you would be surprised at the wild prints and the colors that they actually had from which to choose. Now, I'm sure it all depended on how much money you had, but all of these blocks have been relatively easy to piece. There have been some that have been just little booger bears, let me tell you, to piece, but these haven't been too bad. It's just that some of them are like, you have to cut them, 7/8 inches. So they're just weird measurements, but okay. So those are the blocks that I finished. And then these are the triangles. Now, some of them have been trimmed. Some of them have not. So here's one of the triangles. And so there's 13 of these triangles on each side of the quilt for the border. So there's one of them. Here is another. You can tell that I haven't trimmed off the edges, and you'll see some of them are like, but that's okay, because it's on, these are cut on the bias, so I can stretch them to be the shape they need to be. Thank goodness, because they are not very accurate. This lady, of course, hers were done by hand, and you'll find out, I love this fabric too. Actually, if we would stitch them by hand, it would take longer. See, like here, this needs to be trimmed off. I just left it extra long. So Mom made the template, and it's at her house, so I haven't had a chance. And you can see these are kind of a little, but that's okay. What was I going to say? I don't remember. Oh, how she came up with all these different blocks. I think it's amazing, because they're not traditional. I mean, there's just, anyway, like I said, keep your mind, see how that one goes to the side. When you stretch him, he'll be fine, because he'll come out straight like that. But for right now, he's as good as it's going to get, and we're just happy he is. And once you trim him down, then it's not so bad either. So they look funny when they're not trimmed, though. I have a few more of these. These are the hardest to make, I think. Oh, look at that one. Look how crooked it is. It's fine. Who's going to know? With all the pieces that are in this quilt, nobody's going to notice. So it's all good. Isn't this one pretty? That fabric is really pretty also. I was saying, all of ours have been done. We try to pick colors that are similar to the ones that are in her quilt. My mom has an extensive 1800s reproduction fabric stash, and so do I. So the funny thing is I haven't even pulled any out of my stash. It's all been hers. Of course, some of my stash is at her house. She keeps reminding me, but it's fine. I need to take some more down there. And those, then this, whew, that's a lot of work, let me tell you. Those little tiny pieces. All right. I'd rather sew with tiny pieces though. I don't like the bigger pieces. Then the next quilt that I am working on is A Ribbon Runs Through It, and this is actually a block of the month that we're doing through Fat Quarter Shop. My mom, it's funny, she also ordered this, and we didn't even know the other had gotten it. It's really pretty. It's the fabric. It's a Judy Rothermel, I think, fabric, and it's so pretty. It's just beautiful. So, and these are reproduction fabrics also, and this is just the first month. I've received the second. We should have already received the third. Oh, I should have it like this, and my center block is facing upward. I fussy cut it like that, but we should have received, trying to make a space here, we should have received the third month already, and I'm just thankful that, you know, with shipping, everything is delayed, which is perfectly fine because I have so much to do anyway. Not lacking for projects. I haven't even started on the second month yet, so I'm thankful that it's delayed because I can use the delay. I haven't even gotten started on my heartfelt. Is that what it is? Heartfelt. It's Fat Quarter Shop's. They do a Make-A-Wish. They charity. They do you donate to it. It's a free pattern. And so I haven't even started on that yet. I do have all of my fabrics starched. I like to starch my fabrics. I know Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop does. I do mine differently than hers. I learned how to do mine from Leah Day about 12 years ago, 15 years ago. It's been forever. But I drench them, and Kimberly, I think, lets them dry. I iron them dry. I find them to be stiffer, but because I don't use steam in my iron. That's why I've had the same iron for like 10 years, and it has not broken. So, and it's an Oliso, however you say it. Because if you don't put water in your iron, that's what usually breaks them down. So anyway, so now I'm going to move on to haul. So those are my sewing projects as of right now that I have worked on. This is In Full Bloom, and it's a quilt book by Barb and Alma from Blackbird Designs. Isn't this beautiful? It has beautiful patterns in here, and I have numerous books of theirs. You can see here's a pillow, and then it has all of these, and it has more than just quilts. It usually has rug hooking, a cross stitch, and usually a wool applique also. So here is one of the quilts. So pretty. I love to applique. I love to hand applique. I'm going to do a video actually of how I do mine, because one of the patterns that I'm going to put on my link tree, I think I mentioned that in my other video, not in this one. One of my viewers told me that I could post, because I was trying to figure out how I was going to get patterns to people that might want to make what I'm making in my stitching videos, my sewing videos, and one of applique videos. And one of my viewers told me about Linktree, and so I opened an account. I don't know what you call it if you say an account. And this one pretty. I really like the colors in that one. I just have to figure out how to post it on to my Linktree. So once I figure that out, then I will actually post the videos where I do my tutorials. So pretty. I think these aren't these called Lemoyne stars? I think. I get the names of them mixed up. They are all, when people talk about, you know, that block is something I came up with. Most of them are actually, what do you call them? I can't even think of the term. But they've, you know, they've been around for hundreds of years. Here's a hooked rug that's in the book. thus far, that hobby has not like jumped in and grabbed a hold of me yet. So that's one of my books that I got. I really like that one. Then I subscribed to this magazine. It's called Simply Vintage. And I love this. This is called Courthouse Steps. I mean, I don't know the name of the actual chart, but the pattern. I still can't think of that adjective. I haven't even looked through it yet. But it's very, everything is like, can't tell by the colors on the, but like very prim looking things. It's more vintage. So I haven't had a chance to look yet, but I do love Courthouse Steps. And that one's very scrappy. Here's a wool applique project. It's full of different types of projects. Hold on. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Looks like a traditional, that's what I was thinking of, traditional box. There's one that's a home, houses. This one is a, I think this is punch needle. It's really pretty. Oh, I can show you the whole thing. I don't have to bend it back. Isn't that beautiful? Anyway, there's a whole bunch of things in here. Like I said, I have not yet. Oh, look, that's using old jeans. Oh, it's like a wedding ring. A double denim wedding ring. Look, it's made out of old jeans and then other fabrics. That's clever. A wedding ring is one that, I think I showed that on one of my videos I had bought. Oh, there's some really cute stuff in here. Okay, focus. I had bought the paper pieces to do it English paper piecing, so I will be working on that this summer. I will not have time before, because I'm about to start sewing with all of my classes, and so that takes a lot of preparation and time and patience. Okay, everything else that I have for haul before my tutorial is from Primitive Gatherings. Wonderful shop. It does take them, sometimes it takes a week or two before you get it. It's not a big deal, but sometimes they're still having to cut the kits or whatever, because I like to order the kits. If you're just ordering patterns, it won't take that long. So after they have these live videos, and after the Valentine one, of course, I ordered all the wool Valentine stuff. I don't remember if I showed it in a video, because I've had numerous videos that I've just erased and didn't even post. But after their St. Patrick's Day one, of course, I ordered their St. Patrick's Day. This is Irish chain, and it's just a simple 9-patch with green embroidery shamrocks. It is so cute, and it's the kit. It has the, you can buy it just the pattern. You can buy it with the kit. You can buy it the kit with the floss if you need the floss for like the wool applique. If you want the Valdani or whatever, they can hook you up. But then I got Lucky Charm banner. This one's really, really pretty. I love these greens. I love the deep, deep greens. And then it's the wool and cotton that goes with it. Then this pattern, this has the pattern for the 2 pillows, and it's a pattern for this ocean waves. It's a traditional block, like it's been around forever, but I bought the kit, so this is the wool to make the pillows. But then I also just said I wanted the Konas, and I think they are, I don't know if they're Bella Solids or Konas, to make, I don't like stark white, so it is an off white. It's not a stark white, but I love this color green. I just think that's beautiful, and that's what they used to make the quilt that they showed on the video. So I do want to make this one. I think I want to do this as my leader and ender. It's Bonnie Hunter. It's a thing that she does. I mean, lots of people use leaders and enders, and it's just like a little scrap piece or whatever. She actually has like a second, and I know Lori Holt does just random in between what you're sewing. to get it out from under the needle to save thread if you don't have an automatic thread cutter on your machine. And even if you do, because sometimes that wads up at the beginning, it just feeds better if you feed something through it. And so some people just use a scrap piece of fabric and then they just keep going through until it's so filled up with thread that they throw it away. But I'm thinking I want to do this as a leader and ender, and so I'm piecing these half square triangles as I am sewing another project. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's what I was thinking. But then I'd have to get awfully prepared and starch all of this, and so we'll see. I haven't even read the pattern yet. So, all right, so let me put these back in this box. And just set them right there. Okay, the next thing is I subscribe to their quilting box. They just started a quilting box, and I was so excited. I've wanted to subscribe to their wool box, but it's been sold out since I started following them, which has not been a long time, like, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, maybe. But it's full. The club is full. So they started a quilting box, and I love primitive things, so I got in and subscribed to it. So it comes in this cute box. It's a nice, heavy, reusable box. So this is what was in it. Nope. Well, no, it doesn't matter. Isn't this cute, this table runner? We got that, and I think this is the charm pack you need to make the table runner. Yes. These are what are used for the hearts. Then we got this cross stitch pattern. It's super sweet. It's Count Your Stitches, designs by Katie Nolan. Love Begins at Home. Super sweet. That was in the box. And then, well, there was another pattern. Oh, yeah, it's in the bag, Jennifer. Then there's this. It looks very modern to me because it's like black and gray and white. But it's with her new urban farmhouse. And the picture, I don't think, makes it look as good as it should. So, and then there's the mini charm pack in here, and it has all the fabric you need to finish the top. So that's exciting. There's that, and then we got this like strips. These are what, 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 inches tall, and they are just reproduction fabrics. So I love anything like that. I have most of these as I'm looking through here. But you can always use more. They're just great. Oh, you know what? I bet these go with this. The bow tie quilt block. 6 yards of light fabric or scrappy fabric. 756 5-inch dark and medium charms. So these are actually more than one 5-inch charm. I bet they're 10 inches long. So it's just a start, I'm assuming, for this. I love bow tie blocks. So we got that pattern and that. And this, I'm not so sure. I'm not going to use the fabric she sent. But just because it's not my thing. But I like the blocks. It's the Revel quilt kit. And these are the blocks. I love the blocks. I think they're pretty. I do not like these colors. They're just not my thing. And I know they go well together. The gray and this yellowy green, and that's great. But it's just not my thing. So I'll probably give these away if, or make something for my niece. She would like it. She loves purple. Yeah, I can't use this. I mean, this one's not too bad. If I could pair it with something other than, I can't use these. No. I'm not a tone on tone either. No. So this one looks somewhat, I could probably use on something, but not the rest. But I'm sure lots of people love that. So that's great. And that was what was in my box. It's a wonderful box. So if there are any openings, I would recommend that you jump in because it's great. All right, let me put everything back in here since they all go together. Try not to lose anything here. Now, I was watching Lisa Bonjean. She's the owner of Primitive Gatherings. I was watching her YouTube live, and she said that they had 50 spots. They opened spots in the Wool Club, Wool subscription box. And if you were interested, email. I mean, she was in mid-sentence. I stopped and I emailed them. Of course, they were already closed by the time I'm watching it because I have to watch it once I get out of work. So I was like, oh, please, please, please. I hope I can get into it because I just love wool. Haven't made anything with it, but I love it. So then I was teaching the next day, and about 2 o'clock, I have my last class. And so I went over to my phone to see if any of my kids had called. Did I need, anybody text? Did I need to take care of anything? And I had missed a call from, I think it's Wisconsin or Minnesota where they live. It's somewhere up north. And I knew, I think it's Wisconsin because I think it said WI, that it was them. And I thought, oh, if I've missed my chance, I'm going to be so sad. So I called. And the lady who answered didn't know anything about it, but she took my name and my phone number, and then the lady called back and so got me signed up, and I was so excited because the quilting box comes every other month, opposite of the wool box. And so now I get the wool box. So the wool box, this is January's. They asked if I wanted January's, and I said, yes, please. So I have to go back. There's a project that's been since last year, so I need to go back and purchase the kits for the other parts so I can get it all, not the whole box, just the kits. So so I get this starting January every other month. So then I'll get it January, and then March, and then May, and so then the opposite months, then I will get the quilting box. So, but this is January, so that means I have one coming already this month. So I'm gonna get a little spoiled. I'm gonna get 2 in 1 month, but anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful box, reusable, nice and hefty. So you can see this is wool box 19. So they've been working on this project. I just have to get the rest of it, and I haven't even opened it yet. It's still, it was all sealed up like this. So very excited. We're gonna learn together what's in here. This is the last of my haul. So, well, everything else I put up, I did get some other things, but that's okay. All right. Hold on, I dropped something. Oh. All right. Oh, they send caramels, depends on where you live, I guess, that they make. They sell these actually on their shop. So they send some of those in all the boxes. I didn't mention that in the other one. Thread picker. Oh, I wonder if that will work on my mat. Or if it's just for, hold on, I'll read. Grab those thread bunnies from sticking to your clothes, or after you've ripped out seams. This gadget grabs those pesky threads easily and gets them under control. Oh, that's very interesting. I'm always covered in threads when I leave my sewing room. That's where I am right now, my sewing room. So, oh, I like that. So that was in there. Then this is First Flower Table Mat and Runner. Sample of cut edge. Ooh, this is pretty. This looks very spring. Maybe I'll try to make this one. Anyway, and then it's the kit with all the stuff. Now, I love that about wool because it's hard. It's difficult for me to find wool where I live. I know there used to be a place, one of my friends, Rosie, told me there was a place that used to be open in Bandera, which is about 40 miles from my house. But I think they've closed down since then. I think you can go by appointment or something, but I don't know what kind, if they have a whole lot from which to choose. This is On with 2022 Part 1. Oh, she was talking about this. It's all of these octagons, and somehow they're going to put them together or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I have all of this kitted up. I mean, that's one that I should be able to do somewhat easily. I mean, for me, easily anyway. Let's see. Stitching card. Oh, it's how to make a closed blanket stitch. Oh, that's pretty. Never seen that. Then there's a recipe for tomato basil soup. That sounds good. There's one for grilled cheese. Oh, that's funny. Do you know I have been on a grilled cheese, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I've been eating them all the time. Like, it's funny. Oh, mine's just plain. Hers is like fancy grilled cheese. My husband would probably like those. Okay. And then the last thing, which I think this is a lot that we get because wool's expensive. So this is Dragonfly Dreams 7. And so this is the one that I have to go back and buy the others. But look how pretty these are. Try not to get the glare. Oh, so pretty. And it's the kit for all, to make it all. So I do want to get started on some of this. So, all right. So that is all. And then of course you get, so these are the cards with like the stitch card and the recipes. That's really neat. I like that. And then you get a letter and it shows everything that's in your box. Oh, so pretty. All right, put all this back in here. All right, so now I'm going to show you how I do my English paper piecing. So if you're interested in that, stick around. I'll be right back. I just have to move all this out of the way because I have to set my camera to film from above. So I'll be right back. Okay, I decided before I showed you me actually stitching it, some of y'all may not know what English paper piecing is. So I might want to back up and explain that. I use English paper piecing to do hexagon quilts or projects. This is the one that I'm working on right now. Let me do it this way so it's, sorry, my chair has this popping. This is Grandmother's Flower Garden. Now it's a little bit different because most grandmother's flower gardens have yellow in the center, like this one would be. And then the outside, it's not like this. This one I chose to do embroidery on the centers of these flowers. So I'm trying to come up with different things to put on each one. So, and I don't have a lot of time. I haven't worked on this. This used to be what I called my sports project. I worked on this when my kids were playing sports. So I was planning on making it into a whole quilt. I don't think I'm going to do that. So, I mean, I only have this much. So I guess it could be a table runner for Easter. It kind of looks Eastery. So this is where I am right now. This is a great, if you enjoy hand sewing, this is a great project. I love this. And if you look on the back, you can kind of tell the papers are still in some of them and they can come out. Once it's completely, the paper has been completely surrounded and it's sewed all the way around, you just pop these papers right out. So the papers don't stay in there. They just stay on the outside edge until they've been sewn around. So anyway, that's the one that I most recently have worked on, and I have not worked on it in a while. So anyway, so the paper that I use, I'll show you how I get my papers. These are some other papers that I've bought throughout the years. This is a Quattro color. This is Sue Daly. She is like the queen of English paper piecing. If you look up Sue Daly, she's from Australia. She has videos and she has a lot of products. Her glue is wonderful, but this, I love this pattern. And so years ago, I bought the kit to make it. I mean, I won't make it with these colors, But I bought the English paper. It's all English paper piece. So you don't use your sewing machine at all. It's all done by hand. But the paper just gives it stability to sew. So you don't have to mark your lines and stitch it by hand. That way you actually just use a whip stitch. So, but these are the kit. These are part of her kit. So some, and you can order them individually. If you design something you want to do on your own, these are just what you would use. These are the papers that you can buy already cut. They can come like these. These are like elongated hexes. These are kites. These are pentagons, elongated pentagons. You can get those without the templates. And then they also, these are the kites with the template. Now, I don't use the template. The template would be great if you were going to actually piece it by hand, not English paper piece, because it actually has where the seams should line up, and that would be great. But some people use this to fussy cut, and all that means is that there's a specific design that you want to get inside the piece, and this, since it's a clear template, you can lay it on top of your fabric, and it's super easy to see. And so it's beneficial in that way. Some people use these to cut their fabric out. I don't do that because I just use scissors and I eyeball like 1/4 of an inch. That's all I do. So, but then these, you can see how they come with a clear template. And you can also see that I have not even opened these. And I ordered them years ago. But I have them for the one day that I, have time to do them. So you can buy things like that. And these I bought from Fat Quarter Shop years ago. Don't know if they still have it. I do know they do sell paper piecing papers. Or they used to. Anyway. These are some others. This is also a large octagon from Sue Daly. It's just something I was going to try out for some reason. Apple cores. Now this actually came from Paper Pieces. And their whole shop is just paper pieces, like the paper to do paper piecing, English paper piecing. And here is their contact information. They are wonderful. I've actually been in this shop. Super friendly people. These are apple core. I've always wanted to make an apple core quilt. And I don't really enjoy stitching curved pieces on my sewing machine, although I don't know how much better it's going to be with paper piecing either. But I have these to try one day. So I have those. I used to be a member of Quilty Box, had a paper piecing subscription box. And the problem is a lot of their fabrics are very modern, and I don't really enjoy modern fabrics. So I did enjoy, and I was trying to cut down on how much I was spending. So, but this is when I was a member of Quilty Box's English paper piecing. And so these are just like the, looks like it would take what, a 6-pointed star. So, or a cube if you want to do it like a cube. And I'll show you one that I've done. This one is a fan quilt. This was 1 month's pattern, and it had the template and the English paper piecing pieces. And this is a 6-point 60-degree diamond, and it has the template and the paper pieces. So this is a big one. So you can make very large cubes or a 6-pointed star, depending on what you want to do. So those are some other places that you can go to look for the papers. Do I have any other ones? No. I just use things that I have around my house. So I have an actual punch that has 2 sizes of hexes, and it's super old, like, I mean, probably 15 years old. I don't know. It used to be in the scrapbooking section, and I know at one point they stopped making them. I don't know if they've started making them again or not. I just know that you had to get it off eBay. That's the only place I could find it, and luckily I did find it. So, and I just use, where are the papers? I just use these, like these things you get in the mail, and they're heavier. You don't want it too heavy, because if you're using a punch, and I'm sure now somebody makes it. I didn't even think about that. I should look to see if I could find a hexagonal punch. But I just use these kind of things. Now, if they get too thick, then the punches sometimes can get stuck, and you don't want to do that. So you can see like these, I've already started, and I'll just cut away this part, and then I'll use this. I'll stick it into the punch, and I just punch them out. So I use a punch to punch out my hexagons like this. And then I just keep a stack of them. So I don't have it here because I think my mom has it. She has a punch that has two other sizes. It's like one big punch and it has two hexagons in it. So, and I'll show you something that she made once. Gorgeous, gorgeous work, let me tell you. So these are some of my rosettes that have yet to be sewn into. So this is what they look like once you sew all the way around them. And you can see what I mean by fussy cut, because I made it so that, I tried to make it so that the center, the little picture was in the center of each one. And then like on this one, I tried to make it so that they lined up going across. You don't have to do that. It's just something that I do. Things like this, you don't have to worry about. You just sew them together. So, but these are and I was trying to use like things that looked somewhat like old feed sacks. So 1930s, 40s-ish looking things. So I have a whole big tub of these right here. So you can tell I smushed them around. They were by color. So these actually should go in here. So I will show you how I make the rosettes, because that's what people were asking. So hold on one second, and I'm going to turn this around so now you can see down and clear up some of this stuff. Just one second. Okay, so here I am. I'm sitting at my desk, and I have my supplies. This is just a little box, and I bought this like, I don't know, probably 15 years ago. And it has all of my supplies that I take on the go. So when I would go to my sporting events to watch the kids, my children play, I had everything I needed right here. I would keep it all together. So I have, for example, that goes over there. I have all of these pre-made, ready to sew together. And then I have these that I've just trimmed and pinned. And so they're ready to be sewn together. These like are be ready to be wrapped. I don't know what you would call it. Anyway, so I always had these going. And then in the bottom is where I would put my completed ones and then any of my tools that I needed. So needles, and these are just little applique pins. They're short, and so they work perfectly for English paper piecing. I like them. Some people like to use glue. It's a pain to have to pull it out when I'm finished. The only time I usually do that is when I'm going to actually applique my flower. I will glue the edges, and I'll show you that when we get to where I'm sewing and the pattern that I've designed for you. So anyway, and then a thimble. I am a big thimble wearer, and this is my favorite one. It's the pink one that's like this, and I don't even know the brand. I just know it when I see it. This is like a silicone that it kind of sucks to your finger. I think this one's probably a little old because it's getting a little loose on my finger right now. So when you put it on, it should grip to your finger. So otherwise I'll end up with a big callus here. So I always have that also. And then I keep a stack of these usually down here also. And these are just the cutout hexagons that I did from like mailers that I get junk mail in the mailbox. So I have those. Now in this big tub, I have fabric connected with the center. I just put a little scrap on here that I'm going to use for the center. You also need a pair of scissors, and I just use this gray color. It's a light gray, and so I don't want to have to carry a bunch of different colors. It's not like I'm actually appliquing to have to match anything. As long as my stitches are good, which they are not always. You can usually see mine, but you shouldn't be able to see them. So now I'm going to show you how to do this then. So all you have to do, this is how I do it. Now you could use glue here, a little Sue Daily glue, or you can use just school glue if you're planning on washing this quilt anyway. I mean, the glue gets washed out. It's not that big of a deal. So now if you wanted to use the template, you could use the template to cut it out. I just usually just lay it like this. And these are not the scissors I normally use. So let's see if they'll even cut. Oh, they're not too bad. So I'm just going to eyeball about, 3/8 to 1/4 to 3/8-ish. I probably shouldn't. It's probably too small. Let me get it. So I'm just cutting this out. And it doesn't have to be exact, so that's why I don't use a template. It's really not that big of a deal. And for some reason this is looking blurry. Let me look through my phone. I think it's okay. Let me tap it and see if it's any better. Okay, I think it's okay. So I just have it displayed right here in front of me on my computer, but it's kind of a lag and it doesn't look as clear, but when I look through my phone, it looks clear. We'll find out, won't we? All right, so then I just take the applique pen and I just poke it through the center. And again, this is just what I do. I moved it, so I move it that way. There's a lot of different ways to do English paper piecing. You just do the one that you like. All right, so then I just need a needle. Whoops, just making a mess everywhere. So I just usually do from my hand to the middle of my upper arm, a length about that. Now, if you have some beeswax, this is a great place to use it. Mine is in by my stitching chair, so I didn't bring it in here. All right. Now, to tie a knot, I love to watch Sue Daly's videos because she calls it a knicker knot. I don't know what kind of knot she's sewing, but it's not the one I do, I'm pretty sure. Hold on. I just use a quilter's knot, what's called a quilter's knot. And what you do is you put, so I have this thread pointing to the right, my needle's pointing to the left. And so I hold it with these two fingers right here. I have both of them. And I just wrap 1, 2, 3. And then I just pinch it, however you say it, with these two fingers. And then I grab the needle with my left hand and I just hold on tightly with my right. And as I pull it through, it makes a knot. Let me stand up and see if you can see it. It's there. Just trust me. I can kind of see it. All right. So I have my knot. Pull. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a stitch at a corner. I feel like I need to zoom in. Hold on. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to take a stitch just over here at the corner. So get this out of the way. And what I do is I just fold it over this way. And then I fold it over this way. And then I just use my thumbnail to hold it tightly. And I take I need my thimble. Hurts my finger. I just take a couple of stitches. So there's one. And then I come down and I just make sure it's pulled tightly. And I take one a little bit further down from the first stitch. And then that's how I hold it together. So then, hold on. my tail wasn't. There we go. You just have to watch it that your tail doesn't get stuck in there also. You just want one thickness of thread. You don't need two. So then you just push this down and then fold it over. And then you just hold it with your thumb right here. So then I take a stitch. Nobody's going to see this. This is going to be on the inside of your quilt. So then I'm going to take a stitch here. I haven't really taken a stitch yet. I have to do it one more time to take a stitch. So there's one stitch. And then I just move down a little further and take another one. Now some people, like I said, will glue all this down and they don't stitch this at all because they think it takes too much time, which is fine. You can do it that way. Some people actually stab through the paper if it's thinner paper, and some of the paper that you buy already prepackaged is thinner usually than what I'm using. This is pretty thick cardstock. So this is the best way for me. Now, once you get into bigger pieces like this, I find this stitching a little more cumbersome because then you also have to worry about these little tags here that stick out because of the acute angles that are right here. So all of mine are obtuse angles. The vertices are all obtuse, so that's why you don't have any of those flags. So then I just am going to continue this, fold it over. I figure one of these will be plenty for you to get the gist of it. You do have to just be forewarned that sometimes you will get caught on this applique pin right here. So again, you could also always put a little bit of glue in the center of your hexie and place your fabric on top and it will hold it temporarily. I just try to limit the amount of glue that I'm using, especially on a big quilt, which is what I planned on this to be. But you can tell that it's a little labor intensive. So once I get about halfway, I go ahead and take out my applique pin because it's pretty well stuck in there. If you want to leave it in till the end, that's fine. It just causes it to bow a little bit. And so I have to bend it back to make sure I'm not distorting my fabric. So then I'm holding down with my thumbnail. I'm going to take one stitch towards the top. And then one stitch towards the bottom. Okay, 2 more corners, then we'll be finished. This is great kind of work if instead of cross stitching, this is great because you don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about reading a chart. You don't have to worry about counting anything. You can just sit there and mindlessly sew these. And I love to do things that some people find monotonous, I guess. I find them very relaxing because my mind can go wherever it wants to go and not be so concerned with, I count, like just by nature, I just naturally count things. And so sometimes I just need to stop counting and let myself relax. Okay, so I'm ready. I'm finished. I did all 6 of them. I'm ready to end it. So I'm going to take another stitch like I was, making another one. And then I'm just going to make a loop. Trying to see if I can show this to you. I don't normally use these fingers. Oh, I lost my connection, so I can't see. So you see there's a loop here. I usually don't make it that big. And then I just go through it one time. And I want to go through it a second time the same direction. So I went from bottom to the top. So I'm going to do bottom to the top again. And then pull tightly. And then that's my knot. And then what I usually do, so I don't have a tail hanging out, I just kind of tuck it underneath like this, come up, and I'm not stitching through my paper. And I just pull it through like this, and then I cut it off right at the fabric. So then you don't see the tail. It's tucked underneath this fabric. Oh, we need to focus. It's tucked under this fabric right here. So, all right. So now I'm going to, oh, my phone lost connection again. Hold on one second. Let me try to connect. All right. So now I'm going to show you how you actually would attach these to one another. So let me get, hold on one second, and I'm going to get one that I can sew together. Okay, I have lost connection with my computer, so it's hard for me to see, so I'm going to have to kind of stand up. All right, so I have, to make the rosette, I have to have 6 of these outside completed, and then the one for the center. So you can see how these have already been stitched. And you take the center, and if it has some kind of design that you want a certain way, this is where you would want to make sure that you place it where you want it. These, it doesn't really matter because they're just kind of a scatter is what they're called. So, all right, so I need to do my knot again. So I point the thread and the needle in opposite directions. 1, 2, 3. Pinch it with my fingers and pull. Whoops. And then you should have a knot. All right. I don't know why it's saying it has trouble connecting. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start at the corner. And so I'm not catching the paper. I'm just going through the fabric. Now, if you do catch the paper, it's not a big deal because it's usually just grazing it, and you can tear it out. So it's not that big of a deal if you do catch it. So I'm just going to go through. Now the corners are stress points, so I like to go through them a couple of times. So, and then we're going to do what is called a whip stitch, which just means, do you see how I just caught a couple of threads and I'm only like, I don't know, a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch away from the last stitch? And you're just going to sit there and do that all the way down. So this is a time-consuming project. So if it's something that you're not interested in, you don't have to do it. You just don't want to scoot too far over at a time. And if I catch my tail, I'm fine with it because then it's not sticking out. But like I said, nobody's going to see the inside of your quilt. Once it's quilted, nobody knows what it looks like. So you don't want to take too deep of a stitch, because then you'll see your stitches on the other side, and you really don't want to see your stitches on the other side. So you just continue to do this whip stitch all the way down to the next corner, and then you can do it different ways. Some people sew all of their hexagons around the center, and then they come back and stitch the edges together. It really doesn't matter how you do it. I'm losing my tail. Hold on. You have to kind of hold on to it with your fingers right here. So just need to get to this corner down here, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. Can't believe I'm doing 2 videos in one day. Who am I? I really was going to start the 3rd one, but I figure I have some time anyway until I can figure out my link tree. I've got to Google that. I would like to get that, learn how to do it tomorrow, but I don't know how much time I'm going to have. I still have a trig test that I haven't written the key for, and I'm sure the kids want their test back when they come back on Monday. So I have to do that, and I have to prep their notes. I don't even know what I'm teaching in trig. Everything else is done. I have 6 different classes I teach it's the only class that I have left to do. It's my favorite class though to teach, so it's really not a big deal. All right, so I've stitched and I'm all the way down to here. So then I open it up and you cannot see the stitches. I mean, I guess you could if I pulled on them a lot, but so then what I'm going to do next is then you can either decide to stitch to here or you can stitch over to here. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch it onto this one. And again, at the corner, I don't think I did it on that one. I'm going to go through there a couple of times because you want to make sure, and you also want to make sure that it's lined up really well so that you don't have, it's not sticking over here and you can't see it sticking over here, and you want the corners to be pretty lined up. So then I'm going to just stitch to this other corner. And what I usually do is I stitch all of them down to the base, and then I come back and stitch this side one right here. So, but for time's sake, I'm just going to go to this corner. So I'm just going to do this whip stitch down to this corner, and then I'm going to show you how I knot it off. So I'm going to pause it and I'm going to finish stitching, show you how I knot it off again, and then I'm going to show you how I would stitch these two together. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I made it to my end right here, and I've taken my 2 stitches at the corner. I'm just going to act like I'm taking another stitch to make that loop. It gets twisted, so if you just, so I make this loop, and this time I'm going to go from the top down to the bottom, or from the right to the left, depending on how you want to look at this. And then I'm going to come back and go right through the left. So you can see a twist in your loop right there. And that's what's going to cause the knot. So then I just pull tightly and it's knotted. So again, I like to just go under my fabric, not through the paper, and then back up just so that you can't see my tail, because that's just the way I like to do it. So then I'm going to cut this off. I don't think that's long enough, so I'm going to get another piece of thread. Missed it there. Okay, my needle was trying to run away. Okay, and again, I'm going to make my knot, matching my thread, pointing my thread to my needle, grasp it with my right hand because I'm right-handed, and 1, 2, 3 times around, pinch it with my right hand, and pull, and you're going to want to hold this part right here that has the tail, or it'll pull the needle out. And then you just pull tightly, and then there's your knot. It's called a quilter's knot. All right, so once I had all of these sewn all the way around, then I would go back and go to stitch these. But just so you can see this part of it, all you have to do, this paper is just bend it. It's just paper. So I just bend it. I don't crease it all the way down. It's just like a little curved like that. You can bend it all the way. And matching up your corners, you're going to do the same thing you did previously. So you're just going to start at the corner, and you're going to want to do 2 or 3 stitches here because it is a spot that gets a lot of stress. You have to be careful also when you start sewing them further and further together that these pieces over here, your thread may get stuck. So you just have to watch it and make sure you keep it twisted to the right side, that it's not like looping around any other pieces. It just can cause a mess, and then you have to restitch things. So just make sure that they stay lined up, and then just stitch like we've been doing. And then once you stitch all the way around one, let me find one. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, I'll just get my quilt. Once you've stitched all the way around them, you can take the paper out. Don't take the paper out until they are completely surrounded. So for example, you'll see that there's paper in each of the ones around the outside, but I've pulled the paper out of these. The paper is what gives it stability so you can stitch it more easily. But for example, right here, this one still has paper in it. So it's all of it's been stitched around it. Hold on, let me see if I can, which way? There we go. All of these papers can be pulled out because they've been stitched. They have a hexagon all the way around. So all you have to do is just push it with your finger from the other side, or just pull in with your thumbnail and pull them out. And since this is just junk mail anyway, I don't try to reuse these. I just throw them away because they're pretty bent up by the time I'm finished with them. So, but you could reuse them. This is some thinner paper that I had. But you see, they just come right out. So it's super easy. Just don't take them out along the edges where they have not been attached to another rosette. It just makes it difficult then to stitch. So, all right. So I'll be right back. Okay, I hope that that was beneficial for the people who had asked about my English paper piecing. If you need more explanation, or I didn't show something well enough, it was difficult because I couldn't see what I was doing while I was working on it. So I hope it's all in frame and everything. But like I said, if you have any additional questions, just give me a call. I'm not an expert at any of this. I am self-taught in everything. Luckily, since YouTube has been around, it makes it a lot easier to be self-taught at things. But anyway, I was going to show you also that I have some of these. These are the 60-degree parallelograms, and they are the ones that form the cubes. And you'll see that they have these little flags right here at the acute angles. But once I attach another cube to it, you're not going to be able to see it. So for example, this is going to go right here. It's hard to do from the back. And that's going to cover up that tag that's right there when it gets stitched like that. So, and they just look like building blocks to me. So, or Kirby, wasn't that his name? The video game back in the, when was that? The 90s, the 80s? I'm not even sure. And he jumped on the cubes. Anyway, whatever. Okay, I think that's it. So, 2 videos, 1 day, craziness. Now I'm going to go do some sewing, and then in a little bit I'm going to do some cross stitch. So I hope y'all are having a wonderful week. I've had a fabulous week, other than I didn't get to see my girls. Oh, also didn't get to see Kippy. So, and I was hoping that I could meet up with Rose today at Tinsmith's Wife and do some stitching, but she had other family plans, which I totally understand. So anyway, all right. I'll talk to you later. Be kind to each other. Bye.